Shalom, shalom. First, I want to start this lesson with calling on our power. Call halal, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Rakakadash. And double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And shalom to the hopeful elect across the four corners of the earth. Coming back through the spirit with another lesson. Basically, in this lesson, I'm going to go into the promise that the Heavenly Father had made with Abraham, okay, because that's very important to this day, okay, that's our forefather, okay, and, the Lord could have easily done away with Israel had it not been for, that promise that he had made with our forefathers, or, had it not been for his name's sake, but considering that it was for his name's sake and his promise that he made with our forefather Abraham, Israel, the Lord don't change, and he made a promise, as it says, Malachi 3:6, for I am the Lord, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. He actually made a covenant with our forefathers, okay, that we was going to be a great nation, okay. He made a covenant, so it's important, that we get on to this, because the kingdom is approaching, okay, and we're gonna be able to see our forefathers again, Lord's will, So I'm gonna start off at Genesis 12:1. Now the Lord has said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house into a land that I will show thee. Okay, so he was in the year of the Chaldees, and the Lord told him to get out of that land, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Okay, so the Lord told him he was going to make of him a great nation. Okay, and out of his seed, was going to be a great nation. So when you skip down, let me skip down to verse verse 3 as well. It says, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse of thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Okay. So curse going to be those that curse Abraham, and blessed are those that bless him. Okay. So let me go to Genesis chapter 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Okay, so he told him he was going to make of him a great nation. After he got out of that land, the Lord told him that he was going to make of him a great nation. And Abraham said, Lord Yahweh, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. So Abraham was like, how are you going to do this? And I go childless. You're going to give it to a servant? Okay, and Abraham said, behold, to me thou hast given me no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. So the Lord told him, you're going to have your own son, okay, and that's going to be your heir. It's going to be your heir, man, okay? So the Lord told him he was going to have heir, and out of his own bowels, okay? Let me get the word bowels. Out of your own body, okay? So basically he's going to have a seed, okay, a son, okay? Okay, so let me go to, so telling him that he was going to have a son. Now I want to go into how much the Lord told him, certain things that he was going to bless him with, okay? Now, before I go into their son, so Genesis, Okay, verse 5. It says, and he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. So your seed, he told Abraham that his seed was going to be as the stars of heaven. Okay. Although at the time Abraham didn't know, because he had to have faith that the Lord was going to give him this. Okay, because Abraham, as you're going to see in later verses, Abraham and Sarah was old in age. But okay, so he's going to have stars of the sea. I mean, he's going to have children as the stars of heaven, if you can count them. Okay, and let me get verse 12. And let me get verse 9. And he said unto him, take me an he-goat. Verse 8. And he said, Lord Yahweh, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me an heifer 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these things, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not. So he took all these certain animals, okay, and he did as the Lord had, he got the birds as the Lord commanded him, and he laid them side by side. And when the fowls came upon the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and lo, and a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto him, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Okay, Egypt. And thou shalt, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Okay. So let me go down to verse 18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed have I given thee this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Okay, so the Lord was going to put, his people into captivity for 400 years, okay, and judge them afterwards. Because we've been here in America longer than 400 years, okay? So you're speaking about Egypt, okay? So you go down to verse 18. In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed I have given thee this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, okay? So the Lord told Abraham, that he was going to make of him a great nation, okay, as a multitude, as the stars of heaven, okay? Blesses them that curse thee, and curses those that curse, and curse are those that curse him. And he was gonna give them the land given to his seed, the land of from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Okay, the land of Canaan. Okay, so how did the Lord, eventually give Abraham, his promise? Okay, or the covenant, which is soon to be a promise. Okay, when you go to Genesis 17 and 1, and when Abraham was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty Power. Walk before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face, and Yahweh talked to him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Okay? So he was going to be a father of many nations, okay? And, that's what it was, okay? Because when you go into it, Israel is Israel is when you go into the tribes, for an example, Jamaicans would be, it's so many Jamaicans and so many so-called black. Literally, they usually, if you walk up to a person in Babylon, they might tell you that Americans are black people and white people, okay? Because the immigrant thing and all that. So it's just like we are a nation by tribe, So, verse 5, neither shall thy name any more be called Abraham, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Okay, so that's what the Lord told him. Okay, he was gonna make him of a great nation, of many, many people. Okay, of greatness, and kings shall come out of him. Okay, verse 8. I'm gonna skip down to verse 8. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Okay, so the Lord is gonna bless us with that land, which is Jerusalem, really. I believe Elder Yashawamba had it right here.
It most like.
Okay, so the land in the video, Remnant Save 144, it says re H2N in the land of Canaan, Israel deception. Okay, as you can see, right here, it's a little blurry, but it's right here is Jerusalem, okay, which is Canaan, okay. So I'm gonna go to verse 22, chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that Yahweh did tempt hold on, Salakia, because first you got to get that they had a son. Genesis chapter 21 and 1. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age at the set time of which. Okay, Salakia. I gotta backtrack a little bit. Genesis 19 and hold on, no. Genesis 18 and 11. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and they ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of woman. So they were older, unlikely to have children. And you go to verse 12. It says, therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also. Okay, and verse 13, and the Lord said unto Abraham, hold on, Salakia, I meant to give verse 10. Salakia, let me go to verse 10. Genesis 18 and 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. So Sarah was Abraham's wife. Okay, you can go to Genesis 11 and find that. It was Abraham's wife. And the Lord, was telling him that Sarah was gonna bear a child. Okay, now Abraham already had a son, but the scriptures tell you that in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Verse 11. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of woman. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also. And the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? So she was older, okay? But the Lord was telling them eventually, as you're going to see, to have faith because there's nothing too hard for the Lord. Okay, verse 15. 14. Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time. And Sarah shall have a son. Okay, so you go to verse 21. I think I already read it. When you go to verse 21. Well, let me go back there real fast. It's a lot. I think I was at 18. Okay, so the Lord told her that she was gonna have a son. The Lord told him, well, yeah, kind of. The Lord was telling him that she was gonna have a son. So let me go to verse. I'm gonna get Numbers because the Lord brought this to pass. He brought the whole promise to pass, but that's how cold the Lord is. Okay. Numbers 23 and 19. It says, Numbers 23 and 19. Yahweh is not a man that he shall lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. Has he spoken? Has he said, and will he not do? Or has he spoken, and will he not make it good? Okay. So the Lord is not a man that he shall lie. The Lord is not, the Lord brought this to pass. He said, in the time of your life, I'm gonna bring, you're gonna have a son. Sarah, your wife Sarah is gonna bear a son. Verse chapter 22. Let's go to. And this one, Genesis 21, and let's start at 1 again. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. And for Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Yahweh had spoken to him. Okay, the reason this is so important as well is because it says, Genesis 12 and 21 and 12. And Yahweh said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So his blessing was to come through out of his son Isaac, okay, not Ishmael, okay. So this is how his great nation that the Lord had promised him, the stars of heaven, the kings coming out of him, well, technically Ishmael has kings, but the true promise was going, was from Isaac, okay. A great nation, the land of Canaan, it's all to Isaac. Verse 3, Genesis 21 and 3. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. Okay, so they had Isaac. Okay, so you can read it. Verse 8. And the child grew. Well, they circumcised him. Okay, they circumcised him. But I wanted to get 8. Okay, you know how that goes. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. Okay, so he was growing. He was he was his son. Okay, he was Abraham's son, and Abraham loved him. So Genesis 22 and 1. Is there any other precepts I want in here? Genesis 22:1. And it came to pass after these things that Yahweh did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am, Salakia. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. Okay. So the Lord was telling him, get. It was a temptation that was coming to Abraham, and there was it was told that he was, a burnt offering to offer up his son. Okay. So let me get verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went into the place of Yahweh and went unto the place of which Yahweh had told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. So Abraham and his two young men and Isaac had went, to the mountain, and Abraham and Isaac departed from them. Okay. And this is when Abraham was going to go do it in verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it. Salakia in verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife. And they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire of the wood and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Okay. So he was like, where is the Isaac was like, you got the wood, you got everything else, but where's the lamb? And Abraham said, Salakia, verse 8, and Abraham said, My son, Yahweh will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which Yahweh had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Okay, so he was about to do it, obeying the voice of the Lord. Verse 11, and the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest Yahweh, seeing thou hast not withheld thine only son from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. Miracles, but Abraham turned around and then actually got the real offering that the Lord. But Abraham was found a righteous man, fit to be the father of us all. What it's called. He was having faith in the Lord. Okay, it says that because his deeds were seen by the Lord. That's the eyes of the Lord are 1,000 times brighter than the sun. So I'm gonna get Genesis. I'm gonna get 15. And I'm gonna get another precept after this, or after this, like 17. Okay, Genesis 22:15. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord. For because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Okay, so as you can see, the Lord, seeing all these things, he's seeing how faithful Abraham was in him, so he multiplied him. Okay, he gave Abraham, okay, all these blessings. Okay, the stars of the heaven, the seashore, okay, he blessed them, okay, you know, the father of many, blessed, man. Kings coming out of his loins, you know, and now we're all blessed through him, okay, and, so yeah, man, that's that, man, okay, and the scriptures say without faith it is impossible to please him, okay. So that's what our father did, he had much faith in the Heavenly Father, and the Lord rewarded him, with that. And that's just the story of our father Abraham receiving the promise of the Lord, okay. Hebrews 11:6, but without faith it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, okay. So that's the story of Abraham receiving his blessing from the Heavenly Father, okay, his promise, okay. He was in the land of, the Ur of the Chaldees, he ended up, the Lord got him out of that land. He ended up going to Canaan. The Lord told him that this was going to be his land, okay. The Lord, Abraham was confused on how he was going to, on how his promise was going to continue. The Lord told him, don't fear, basically, that you're your seed, you're going to have a son. Abraham had a son in a miracle, okay. Abraham's wife was too, they were both old and stricken in age, and they had a son named Isaac, and Isaac was to be sacrificed, and Abraham listened to the Lord even then, okay, because Abraham was a faithful servant, man, of the Lord, okay, and he had faith in the Lord, and he did everything the Lord commanded of him, and the Lord gave him them promises, man, okay, that his seed shall, be as the stars of heaven, that they were going to get a great land, which is the land of Canaan, the Jerusalem of peace, God, man, and he blesses those that bless him, and cursed are those that curse him. So that's what it is, man. So that's the promise of Abraham. So with that, Lord's willingness is edifying. I'm going to end this lesson off with calling on our power, call, halal. And this is Salakia, but this is very important, because this is very important to understand, considering the fact that, considering that, in the kingdom, our father Abraham is going to be praised, man. All our forefathers, it says, Matthew 8:11, and I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west and shall sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so there's going to be many that come from the east to west, just, to see our father Abraham, okay? Because this is our forefathers, great men, whom through the word of the Lord and his promise, we ended up, not being forsaken as a nation, which would have been rightfully so, but the Lord had mercy on us. So yeah, with that, the Lord is great and powerful, man. And, that's the story. So Lord's willing, this is edifying. I'm going to end this lesson off with calling on our power. Call, halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rakakadash, Shalom.